And welcome back to the Lolley-Carter Steelers podcast here on DK-Pittsburgh-Sports.com. I'm Chris Carter. He's Dale Lolley. We're getting you ready for the Steelers being back this weekend. Had a bye last week, got a little bit of time to chill, but we're back at it. And Dale, all the buzz right now for the Steelers revolves a lot around guys who haven't played or might not be playing soon. Of course, the top of the line being Melvin Ingram, the reports that he's requested a trade. Mike Tomlin spoke at Steelers practice Friday, saying along the lines of, hey, I've spoken to Melvin. I won't reveal what's happened there. And he said the reason he didn't practice Friday was because of a groin injury. What's your read on this, Dale? Is this a real beef that the Steelers should be concerned about? Or is this something that, Melvin knows the deal. He's a veteran. He knew what the deal was coming in. And when he's back to healthy, if that's the issue going on, he will be back in the rotation.
Yeah, I mean, he's part of their plans, obviously. Even the last game, he still played 17 snaps defensively. Alex Highsmith played every snap. There were some extenuating circumstances there as well.
Right.
You have to remember defensive coordinator Keith Butler, who's also the outside linebackers coach, in addition to being the outside linebackers coach and defensive coordinator in the last game, was also handling the inside linebacker duties because Jerry Olszewski's, the passing of Jerry Olszewski's wife.
Yeah.
So, you're trying to manage not just one position group, but two and really three. The position coaches play a huge role in deciding who plays and how much, and what that rotation is going to look like. So, if Melvin Gordon didn't play as many snaps as he would like last week, he'd been playing a lot. He still played more snaps to this point in the season than Alex Highsmith, and I realize Highsmith missed a game, and he's not that far off of what TJ Watt has played. So, you have the conversation if you're Mike Tomlin with Melvin Ingram, say, hey, look, man, you're going to play. It's not a situation where you're not going to get snaps. You've played a lot of important snaps for us. We're still waiting for Stephon Tuitt to get back, and you've kind of helped fill that role a little bit. Is that extra edge rusher or extra interior rusher? When we've gone to that dime package, this would have been a good game to have a Melvin Ingram. In fact, as Mike Tomlin called him in the preseason, a run game bully against a team like the Browns. So he's not. I don't think he's going anywhere. The Kansas City Chiefs called the Steelers to see if he was in fact available, and we're told no, he's not. So, it is what it is.
It is one of those situations, but the Steelers do need that depth at that position. That was the whole point of getting a Melvin Ingram, was so that, all the guys that would be behind them wouldn't be required as much as they'd be like, you'd play maybe 4 or 5 snaps a game. And now you're in a situation where, like you said, now, Melvin Ingram, who's officially listed as doubtful for this game, TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith they're gonna have to eat up a lot of snaps against a team that loves to run the ball. This Browns team, Dale, last week without Nick Chubb and without Kareem Hunt, were able to run the ball consistently against the Broncos. Granted, the Broncos have been playing a lot worse football the last.
Well, the Broncos didn't have the Broncos were missing 6 linebackers for that game.
They were. That's another part. That's another part.
Every inside linebacker on their roster was hurt. So, they were signing guys off the street to play inside linebacker. I don't look at that, necessarily. They're not going to run like that against the Steelers. They haven't run like that really. Chubb's good. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But Chubb is not a high volume running back. They haven't made him, he hasn't been a guy that's gotten 30 or 35 carries. That's not been, what his thing is. And the Browns want to have balance. They want about a 50-50 split run to pass ratio. So, it is what it is. The Steelers are not a great run stopping team. They weren't last year either. What they are is an opportunistic run stopping team. They'll give up a 5-yard run, and then a 6-yard run, and then a 5-yard run, and then it'll be a 2-yard loss. And when they get you for the 2-yard loss, that's when they've got you in the down and distance that they want you in. So they'll shoot the gaps and they'll take some chances, and guys might get out of position. We might see a little less of that this week after, Seattle gashed them a little bit in the run game in that third quarter last week. What happened in the fourth quarter? Steelers started, getting those stops behind the line of scrimmage. All of a sudden now you put the Seahawks in passing situations, and you let the pass rush eat a little bit. So, it's not always going to be pretty, but it's all about getting those tackles for a loss, and then making things happen off of that.
Yeah, that's gonna be a big part of it. Now, Dale, you wrote a piece about Devin Bush, and how he needs to take the step up soon for the Steelers, and this would be a heck of a week to do it. They need him to help stuff the run. What have you seen out of him that's played into it? Because Mike Tomlin, when asked about this on Tuesday, was basically like, it's a mix of things. Yes, him and Joe Schobert could play a little bit better, but also the guys in front of them haven't made things easy. When I look at the tape, I see Devin Bush getting hit early and often by offensive linemen at the second level, and that making it harder. But there's also times, he could step up in a little bit more in a situation. I just think it's not as easy as as just lining up out there and just go run and hit to be a playmaker. There's a lot that goes into it. What do you see that Devin Bush has to do to be a better linebacker, and especially in this game where the Browns are going to test running the ball?
Yeah, stay in your gap. It's the same for everybody, really. It's the same for Cam Hayward, Isaiah Buggs, Chris Wormley. Those guys have to take on blocks and stay in their gap. The inside linebackers, as Keith Butler noted on Thursday, you can't get those guys freed up every play, because sometimes the offensive rushing scheme has somebody who accounts for the inside linebackers.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be the case. Slip those blocks, make your play, or stay in your gap and just string things out to the sideline. And if you don't give anything up, there's no cutback lane. The back is, maybe he just runs out there and gets 2 yards. Well, that's a win for your defense. You may not have necessarily gotten the tackle, but you did your job. Do your job. Your job is to string things out to the sidelines, or if it's to set the edge or whatever it may be, do that job and do it to the best of your ability. Don't try to do too much. Don't try to jump into somebody else's gap. Don't try to I think that play's going there, and not trust your eyes. You have to trust your eye. What you're seeing with this, you can't allow yourself to get out of your gap.
Yeah, that's the bottom line here is gap response assignment football. Chris, it's funny. Chris Wormley said that on Monday when we talked about him. Mike Tomlin said that on Tuesday. Devin Bush talked about that. Everybody's
talking. They've been preaching it a little bit,
just a little bit, Yeah. But here's the one thing that you've covered the Steelers for forever. When they preach something like that, usually there's something that comes to fruition on that front. Like when I start hearing, Mike Tomlin, Keith Butler, this guy, that guy, that means that situation is about to improve.
Yeah, typically. I mean, guys get into some bad habits if you don't. You could talk about it, but then you have a bad game or bad tackling. And the tackling, everybody looks at the safeties had a bad day tackling. Well, if you let the running back hit the line of scrimmage going 60 miles an hour, and then expect the safeties to come up and get those guys on the ground when they're at full speed, that's not always going to work out well. You got to slow these guys down. You got to make them stutter, chop their feet behind the line of scrimmage. Once the running back starts chopping his feet behind the line of scrimmage in the NFL, it's over.
Yeah.
99% of the time, it's over.
Yeah. And that's the whole thing is a lot of this has to happen up front, which is why it's going to be a very big concern if the Steelers defensive front can't get a hold on this game. Most likely no Melvin Ingram. We know Stephon Tuitt's not, still isn't on his way back anytime soon. What's the answer for this defensive front? Cam Hayward's been phenomenal. TJ Watt's been phenomenal. Alex Highsmith looked really good against Seattle. But Chris Wormley, Isaiah Buggs, Carlos Davis is on IR now. Henry Mondo, the biggest thing I think that the biggest hope that I've seen as far as some of the under guys, Isaiah Loudermilk has played a little bit better, but they need someone to step up there and just, you don't need to be a playmaker, just take on double teams and lock them down and keep your linebackers clean. Do you think that they're going to be able to find a guy who can help do that better?
Well, Buggs is the guy who they're looking at as that nose tackle.
Mm-hmm.
And again, if you're going to be that guy moving forward, you got to start to show it. You can't jump in the wrong gap. And I saw a lot of that from him in the last game, guessing and trying to, don't guess, do your job, do what you're supposed to do. And I think that's what they were pounding the drum on those guys with this week. I expect the run defense to be better. Again, Nick Chubb's a talent. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Cleveland's offensive line is good, but you have to be able to set things up to get those tackles for a loss. You have to get them into 3rd and 8s, 3rd and 7s, even 3rd and 6. If you can do that, the Steelers can win this game.
I agree. It's going to be a big step for the team in either direction. At 3-3, the Browns at 4-3. You have a chance to reassert yourself into the division, and you have the the Bears and Lions coming up. You're able to win this game. You got two teams that are very beatable with the way that they've played. And this could be the gateway to getting yourself to 6-3 in a few weeks, and then everyone's looking around and say, "Wait a minute, where the Steelers come from?" So it all starts this week. We'll get to our previews and predictions along with all the other Sunday games right after this. Back here on the Lolley-Carter Steelers podcast. I'm Chris Carter here with Dale Lolley. We're keeping it rolling here on the DKPittsburghSports.com podcast platform. And you can download this on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, anywhere podcasts are hosted. We thank those who enjoy our content. Remember, it's not just Steelers. We cover Pirates, Penguins, Pitt, Penn State, all the things Pittsburgh's right here on the DK Pittsburgh Sports podcast platform. All right, Dale, let's roll into our picks here. Dale, I got the upper hand on you last week because
I don't know that you did.
You picked the Dolphins. You picked the Dolphins, and I picked the Falcons. You fell for the dipsy there. You picked the Chiefs. I picked the Titans. You fell for the dipsy there. What were the other ones that we did here? I think the only one that you saved yourself on was that you picked the Colts and I picked the Niners. That's the only one that you got up on me. But all the other
ones counts as two.
No, oh yeah, of course the one that you win counts as two. That's how it works. I know.
I picked an underdog.
That's get out of here with that mess. There ain't no points
to win.
There ain't no points for that.
Oh, you won 1 out of 6 weeks this year, so let's not start patting yourself on the back.
That's 3 out of 6 weeks, so you need to calm yourself down.
We're actually 7 weeks in, pal, so it's 4-3.
Well, okay, so you said 3 out of 6, and what is it? 3 or 4? 3 or 4. Make up your mind.
And you don't even have 3. You can't even count the 3.
1, 2, 7. All right,
that's that Pittsburgh school district education there.
Hey! Don't be coming out the Pittsburgh public schools. I went to Taylor Alderdice. Get out of here, man, with the dice and all that. Anyways, let's get into this right here. Sunday, Halloween. It all gets going. NFC South showdown: 3-4 Panthers at 3-3 Falcons. The Panthers have been reeling with the way that they've been playing. Sam Darnold got benched last week. Christian McCaffrey still hurt. Their defense is all banged up. I'm going with the Falcons. They're at home. I think they're going to be able to play better in this game. I think Matt Ryan's going to just give them more with what he's starting to connect with Kyle Pitts. That'll be good enough to beat the Panthers.
Yeah, the Panthers are in a bad spot. The Falcons, however, have beaten the Jets,
yes,
the Giants, and the Dolphins.
Yep.
Let's not pretend they're a good football team.
I'm not pretending.
There's some really bad teams in the league. The Falcons, I guess, are slightly ahead of that. I'll take the Falcons too.
Yeah, a weird one. Here's a survivor pick potential here. Dolphins at Bills. I mean, do we even need to waste time on this one?
Bills. Yeah.
Now, here's one that would have been great in the 80s. San Francisco 49ers at the Chicago Bears. Niners 2-4, Bears 3-4. Niners have been tough to figure out for me. There's times that I think like they have potential, but they don't live up to it.
Well, you have the Bears figured out, right? You said they're a playoff team.
Listen, man, you want to keep coming at me for saying I think that they could stand a chance to make the playoffs back before the season even started. And
I told you then that they stink, and guess what? What do they do?
They're stinking. They're stinking. It's fine. It's fine. But you know what? They're winning this week. They're getting back to 500. The Niners should have been able to win the last week. They've let me down so many doggone times. It's ridiculous. Justin Fields, go in there and do the doggone thing. Send the Niners.
You know who's not playing this week for the Bears?
Who's not? Oh, that's right. Khalil Mack isn't playing. I take
Khalil
it all
Mack
back.
is out.
Yeah,
you already picked the Bears.
No, I'm allowed. Listen, buddy, I run this game show. You ain't Alex Trebek. I'm Alex Trebek. I call when I get to make the final answer. You weren't Regis Feldman. You didn't come in and
you already said it.
You didn't come in and say final answer.
Already said it.
Final answer.
You made your pick. You made your pick.
I'm going with the Niners now. I forgot about Khalil
now.
Mack. I forgot about Khalil Mack. Get out of here. Niners. I'm going Niners. You're going Niners. There we go.
You can't go back in your pick. You have the Bears.
I have the Niners. What are you talking about?
You have the playoff bound Bears.
The playoff bound Bears. So I take it. You have the Bears.
No,
I was going to try and rabbit.
If I picked the Bears yet to see, I don't know if I picked the Bears this season. You're all over the Bears.
No, I'm on the Niners. I'm on the Niners. Get out of here. We're saving the Steelers-Browns game for last, of course.
As the Bears.
Eagles at Lions. Eagles 2-5. Lions 0-7. I'm going with the home team here, Dale. The Eagles have been hovering around and stinking, and they have two measly wins. The Lions have been just close to getting several wins this year. I think this is the week that Dan Campbell breaks it. He'll probably end up crying after this post-game press conference too. Just so happy and tears of joy. But the Eagles, Miles Sanders on the IR, he was like the last chance they had of any hope of balancing the offense to help Jalen Hurts out.
They don't even try.
They don't even try. And the good thing, when he was healthy, they didn't even use him. So I'm going with the Lions. I think they find a way to win this one at home and break that 7-game losing streak.
I'm picking the Lions as well, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say your boy Jalen Hurts gets benched in this game.
Oh wow!
Gardner Minshew is now the number 2 quarterback in Philadelphia after the Joe Flacco trade. That's going to be awfully tempting for Nick Sirianni. He's going to be looking over there and going, do I continue to watch Jalen Hurts miss open wide receivers down the field, or do I go to the guy who can actually throw the football? I'm going to go to the guy who can throw the football.
Can Gardner Minshew throw the football? Because
he had a lot better than Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts stinks.
He stinks. But Gardner Minshew ain't no good player either. Like
he's a better player than Jalen Hurts.
There were a couple of weeks where, because Leonard Fournette was blowing it up and then no one was trying to cover anybody for the Jaguars, like Gardner Minshew, he's the man. And then when everyone's like, hey, let's apply some coverage back there, he was stinking up the joint too.
Better player than Jalen Hurts.
I wouldn't go there.
Jalen Hurts stinks.
Like Jalen Hurts ain't all that. He's a good
Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is the worst quarterback. Jalen Hurts is the worst quarterback.
Dale is still hurting inside.
The NFL.
I crushed him in fantasy with
Jalen Hurts is the worst quarterback. Why are you defending Jalen Hurts? Jalen Hurts stinks.
I'm not. You love
the Bears and Jalen Hurts. The Bears and Jalen Hurts. That's you. He's the worst quarterback in the league. He's the worst quarterback. I'm talking quarterback. Guy throwing the football. He is the worst in the NFL right now.
Worst.
Can you argue that?
Worst quarterback. Worse than Tua.
Tua throws better than him. Tua beat him out. He's the reason.
Tua's the reason
why he wasn't in Alabama anymore.
But to the way Tua's been playing in Miami, he's been rough. Sam Darnold. I mean, Sam Darnold ain't exactly no great player.
Sam Darnold's better than Jalen Hurts. Throwing the football, doing quarterback things, not running around. Jalen Hurts is a great athlete. Jalen Hurts is not a quarterback.
So what is he then?
He's going to be benched soon. That's what he's going to be.
He's going to be benched. See, I don't know if I'm going that far and saying the worst in the NFL. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo ain't doing too well now.
I'd take Jimmy, and I think Jimmy stinks, but I'd take Jimmy over Jalen Hurts.
Man, that sounds
Jalen
harsh.
Hurts, he has no vision whatsoever.
He has 10 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. That's actually not that bad.
He stinks. Watch him play.
I know. I watch him play.
Watch him play.
I'm not here to say that he's some quarterback savant. That's down. Honestly, I don't see Daniel Jones being that much better, Dale. Like I look here and I'm like, I mean, Daniel Jones stinks. Man,
they all stink, but Jalen Hurts was the worst.
This is all because Dale got beat by my fantasy team led by Jalen Hurts.
Has nothing to do with it. He stinks.
This only got strong after that week. Anyway,
he's not an NFL quarterback. They're fooling themselves if they think he is.
We got to keep it rolling here. Another survivor pick here: Rams over Texans. Nobody's picking the Texans. You out of your mind. AFC South showdown here: Titans at 5-2 at the 3-4 Colts. Colts got a big win for you last week, Dale. Are you doubling up with them this week?
No.
He looked at me like I was crazy. Like he was like, "What? Did you really ask me that?" Like, yeah, I'm going with the Titans too. They're playing good football. The Colts, not as much. Another potential survivor pick here: 5-2 Bengals at 1-5 Jets. I have a bet on the Locked On NFL podcast that I do on Fridays with your boy Q. I have bet now that if the Jets win this game, I have to wear green and white face paint on the show on YouTube. So hopefully the Bengals do what they're supposed to do in this game. If they fall through and they lose the Jets, I'm going to be furious next week.
Yeah, Mike White's not beating the Bengals. It's Mike White.
That's right. That's why I made that bet. I'm like, there's no way I can lose. There's just no way.
I understand. If it were Jalen Hurts, then maybe you'd pick him, but it's Mike White.
So wait, is Mike White better than Jalen Hurts?
Mike White's not a regular starter, though. He's not a team starter. He's a backup. That doesn't count. I'm talking about the 32 starting quarterbacks in the league. Jalen Hurts is the worst thrower of the football of that group. Okay. He's the worst quarterback of that group.
3-4 Patriots at 4-2 Chargers. Patriots playing a little bit better football the last couple of weeks. Mac Jones.
Come on now. That's the Patriots wins this year. They've beaten the Jets twice.
Yes.
And they beat the Houston Texans, and they had the rally to do that.
And they almost beat the Cowboys.
You know what they call almost winning?
A loss. They call it, and I agree. Yeah. But they have been playing a little bit
in
better.
A rainstorm. Like
it was a rainstorm. I do remember watching that. I'm going with the Chargers because they're 4-2. They're coming off a bye week. They got shellacked by the Ravens, and I think they know they got something to prove.
I'm going with the Chargers because they're a way better football team.
There's that too. Here's a game that nobody really cares about. The 1-5 Jaguars at the 2-5 Seahawks. I mean, just yuck and yuck. I guess the biggest thing is you got Trevor Lawrence on one side and Geno Smith on the other side. So maybe the Jaguars can do some damage there. The Seahawks looked really bad last week on Monday Night Football against the Saints. I've been tempted to pick the Jaguars, but I'm sticking with the home team. I think that Seattle gets the dub in their home stadium. Urban Meyer, they're happy after that one win, but they better be happy with that one win.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned him because you mentioned the quarterbacks on the sidelines. There's Pete Carroll on one sideline, and Urban Meyer on the other. I'm going with Pete Carroll.
Yeah, I think that the Seahawks will just be a more better prepared team.
It's
in
a long
this situation.
Trip,
it's also
Urban Meyer has no idea how to handle that kind of stuff.
Oof, man. I mean, when you say long trip, I mean Jacksonville. That's the other side. It's literally the other corner of the country, the southeast to the northwest. I mean, there's East Coast to West Coast, and then there's literally going all the way up and all the way across the country. That's a whole nother beast of a trip there. All right, so we're both going Seahawks there. Washington at Denver. Washington 2-5, Denver 3-4. Denver's been reeling. Washington hasn't been great either. But I'm going with Taylor Heineke. I think that he's been able to put on some stuff. Him and Terry McLaurin can do some damage there. I think they do enough to beat the Broncos. But do you say the Broncos win at home and go to 4-4?
Broncos getting some guys back for this game. Jerry Jeudy looks like he'll be back. They're getting a little more healthy. We'll see about Von Miller. I'm going with the Broncos.
Oh, we got a split there.
I don't. Taylor Heineke's not good. He's not good.
He's not good, but again, he gets me some points because I have a double quarterback fantasy league, and he's had to step up for me several weeks with injuries, and he's hanging in there. He's hanging in there. Anyways, 6-1 Buccaneers at 4-2 Saints. Now the Saints swept the Buccaneers last year. They were their kryptonite, even with Drew Brees playing at a poor level. But the Buccaneers have been playing much better football this time around. Do the Saints win at home? I got the Buccaneers winning on the road, but do you think the Saints continue this odd dominance they've had over the last year over them?
Their defense is good.
Yes.
And their defense will give, Lattimore will shut down Mike Evans. I think this is a Chris Godwin week for them. I think Gronk is back this week. If the Saints had Michael Thomas available for this game, I might pick them, but their receivers are junk. They just don't have, that's the way to attack Tampa Bay is through the air. I just don't know that the Saints have the receivers to do it. Jameis Winston revenge game though.
Jameis Winston revenge. I didn't even think about that.
Winston.
It's the Jameis Winston revenge game. I didn't even think about that. So are you picking the Saints?
I think the Saints keep things close, but I think Tampa wins the game.
Okay. so it's the revenge game, just the revenge doesn't actually happen. Totally fair there. All right, Cowboys at Vikings. Cowboys 5-1, Vikings 3-3. Vikings have had some interesting games. Then they've had there's just flops of a performances. That loss to the Browns was ugly. I'm gonna pick the Cowboys. I just think they're a more complete team.
I'm gonna take the Vikings coming off a bye week.
Mm-hmm.
I know Dallas is as well. Dak Prescott's a little nicked up for that game. We'll see whether he plays or not. I think that if you look at Dallas's defense, it's not great. They've been opportunistic. They've forced 14 turnovers. I think Kirk Cousins and company will take care of the football pretty well. I think they're going to run the ball. Dalvin Cook is going to have a big game. This could be an upset special here. I get the Vikings.
Okay, so we got another split there. I got the Cowboys, you got the Vikings. All right, Monday Night Football. Now, Jenna Harner and I were talking about this in the Locked On Steelers podcast. She's a Giants fan, and she's picking the Giants to win this game. I don't. Dang. Dale just chuckles at the idea that the Giants can beat the Chiefs. The Chiefs have not been playing good football, but I can't.
Look who their 4 losses are to.
I agree, but that's why
they'll beat up on a bad football team, and guess what? The Giants are a bad football team.
This is why I think they'll win this game comfortably at home. I just don't see them falling to 3-5. This gets them back to 4-4. It doesn't solve everything, but the Giants just aren't a good football team. They have so many things wrong with them from top to bottom. They don't have the offense that can take advantage of the bad defense.
More importantly, they don't have the defense that can take advantage and limit what Kansas City does here. That's the teams that they've had problems with. The teams that can play that umbrella zone against them and just force Mahomes to nickel and dime them and also get a pass rush. Leonard Williams is good, but he's one guy.
I agree. They're going to be able to limit him. All right, so we're both going Chiefs there. So our split so far, we both have the Falcons, both have the Bills, both have the Niners, both have the Lions, both have the Rams.
We don't both have the Lions or the Niners.
I picked the Niners.
You picked the Bears. Everybody heard you say, I'm picking the Bears.
Yeah, and then I retracted it.
Then I started giving my pick. And you changed your mind.
I forgot that Khalil Mack was out. That was my fault. I forgot that. And then I said, I take it back. I'm going with the Niners there. I had a brief lapse in judgment, but we both picked the Titans. We both picked the Bengals and the Chargers. The Seahawks, where our split started. You had the Broncos. I had Washington. We both have the Buccaneers. I have the Cowboys. You have the Vikings. So those are our splits. Broncos, Washington, Vikings, Cowboys. Those are the games for us to watch there. But now, finally, the big game that all the Steelers want to watch. Steelers at Browns, 3-3 at 4-3. Dale, what's the biggest factor to this game that decides which way it's going?
Turnovers. Whichever team wins the turnover battle wins this game. Both of these teams have forced, I believe, 4 turnovers, and they've turned the ball over 7 times themselves. Both teams are winless when they lose the turnover battle, and they win when they win the turnover battle. If they're even, they've both have won a game when they've been even. So to me, whichever team can force turnovers, it wins this game. It's interesting to me. No Denzel Ward. That's huge.
Yeah, it's huge.
Clowney and Tack McKinley, neither one of them practiced on Friday for the Browns as well. They're both listed as questionable. That Cleveland defense could be a little bit less toothy in this game.
What was the report on Owusu Koromoa? Their linebacker.
He's an IR.
He's an IR. Okay.
Yeah. Here I am schooling you left and right about who's in and who's out.
I forgot about their rookie linebacker.
Forgetting all you. Yeah, I just got to remind you of all this stuff. This is why I'm who I am. You're who you are.
This is why you never beat me in fantasy football. This is why.
Because I'm actually doing a job. I actually pay attention to the entire league.
Doing a job. Okay. But anyway.
So you got Chris.
So I'm going with the Steelers. I'm going 24-23 Steelers. I think that with all the problems, Baker Mayfield playing in this game gives me some thoughts like, man, like the last time I saw him playing, he did not look good. I think he'll be much more of a liability for the Browns. I think the Steelers will do everything they can to stop the run. They'll be more committed to it this week, coming off a bye week. They're a little bit fired up. But I look at the matchups. I think that with the problems the Browns have with injuries, this is the perfect opportunity for the Steelers to make some plays, get back out there and cause some problems. But I think that they win the turnover battle and they get some late scores that put them over the top. And the Browns, they'll finish with the ball in their hands, but they won't be able to do anything with it. Steelers win a close one. What say you?
Well, what did I just talk about? The turnovers.
Yes.
And what happens when we saw in the game against the Cardinals when Mayfield got hurt. What happened when he got hit on that shoulder? He dropped the football.
Yep.
So I think, whether it's just your natural reaction, whatever it is, if the Steelers hit Mayfield in the pocket, if they sack him with the ball in his hands, he's going to fumble the football. That's just a natural reaction because it's going to hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going with the Steelers in this one. I think they win the turnover battle. I think they win this game 23-20.
There you go. 23-20, 24-23. Our splits are, he has the Broncos, I have Washington. He has the Vikings, I have the Cowboys. Should be interesting stuff.
You have the Bears,
I have the Niners. I don't care what you say, Dale.
You had the Bears, I had the 49ers. That was the first thing out of your mouth.
All right, you know what? You have the Dolphins and I have the Bills. There you go. That's it. You want to start playing?
I didn't pick the Dolphins.
Okay. Oh, you didn't? I don't know. I didn't hear it.
Everybody heard. You picked the Bears.
And I changed my mind, which is a very
you can't change. No, you can't.
The game didn't kick off. I can change whenever I want to change. What are you talking about?
Obviously, you just make it up as you go.
I don't make it up as I go. I go through this and I say, listen, when kickoff starts, that's when the pick is locked in. But
there's no such thing. We don't do a podcast 5 minutes before kickoff.
You can tweet out, hey Chris, I changed my mind right before kickoff. Once the ball is
doesn't work like that.
The picks are locked in. It
doesn't work like that.
Me.
You said
you know what? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna edit this podcast and take out the words of me saying the Bears, and then no one will ever.
What did I say? Chris Carter's a cheater. That's all you need to know right there. He just admitted it. He just admitted it.
Anyways, we got to wrap it up here on the Lolley-Carter Steelers podcast. Dale, thanks for doing this show as always. Remember, you can download this show, listen to this show anywhere that podcasting is free, on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, anywhere podcasting is available, as well as all the shows here on DKPittsburghSports.com. I'm Chris Carter. He's Dale Lolley. Thanks for checking us out. Stay tuned. A lot of great stuff coming your way this weekend with the Steelers-Browns game, as well as Pitt-Miami. I'll be at Heinz Field covering that. Dale will be the next day. We'll be at First Energy Stadium in Cleveland covering Steelers-Browns, and then I'll be on the final word with Doug Whaley and Doran Dickerson at night on Channel 11. A lot of great content coming your way. Stay tuned with us right here on DKPittsburghSports.com.